Have you ever heard the story of the young man devoid of understanding in Proverbs 7? Today we're going to look at Proverbs 7 and hopefully get into Proverbs 8, depending on how long Proverbs 7 takes. So let's start off with verse 1. My son, keep my words and treasure my commandments within you. Keep my commandments and live, and my law as the apple of your eye. Bind them on your fingers. Write them on the tablet of your heart. Say to wisdom, you are my sister, and call understanding your nearest kin, that they may keep you from the immoral woman, from the seductress who flatters with her words. So, right away, I want to point out that oftentimes when Proverbs talks about wisdom, Proverbs refers to wisdom as like a person, and you'll hear words like she or her, or like how it says here, you are my sister. So I think that's very interesting, and let me know what your thoughts are about that. That kind of stands out to me. Verse 6, for at the window of my house I looked through my lattice and saw among the simple, I perceived among the youths a young man devoid of understanding. And this is where I opened up and said the story of the young man devoid of understanding. Passing along the street near her corner, and he took the path to her house. In the twilight, in the evening, in the black and dark night. And there a woman met him, with the attire of a harlot and a crafty heart. So, right away, we kind of already see where this is going. There's a young man who lacks understanding, and the first thing that we notice about him is he takes the path to this woman's house. Or, it says to her house. And then it talks about this woman that he met there. And it was a woman who had the attire of a harlot and a crafty heart. She was loud and rebellious. And I think as young men, we kind of know, deep down inside, we kind of know what kind of woman this Proverbs 7 is talking about. And I think that maybe in school or at work or wherever, you might have someone in your mind where you're like, yeah, I kind of know someone like that. She's loud, she's rebellious, she's always looking for attention. She dresses a certain way. And oftentimes, these women are the ones that are really hard to stay away from, because sometimes these type of women are the ones who give you attention or make you feel a certain way because they're flirtatious, or they're really friendly, and they act a certain way with you. But the whole purpose of this Proverbs 7 is for us to gain an understanding of what actually happens when we choose to be associated with these type of women, or when we choose to take this path. Like it says, he took the path to her house. And that's kind of like you can look at it like literally he took the path to her house, or you could also look at it as not literally, but kind of like just choosing that type of woman in general. Doesn't necessarily always have to mean like you're taking a path directly to her house. But anyways, she was loud and rebellious. Her feet would not stay at home. Verse 12. At times she was outside, at times in the open square. lurking at every corner. So she caught him and kissed him. With an impudent face, she said to him, I have peace offerings with me. Today I have paid my vows. And this word impudent, I actually looked at this word yesterday, and one of the descriptions of the original word is actually strong. She said to him with a strong face. And so I want us to kind of stop and think about, okay, what is that? What are you imagining in your head right now when you're thinking about this story and you're thinking about a man who is having this encounter with this woman who's telling him, I have my peace offerings with me. I paid my vows. So I came out to meet you, and she grabs him and kisses him and like, I mean, you think about it, and this man's kind of in a peculiar situation. Like, what is he supposed to do? He has this woman who's basically throwing herself at him. And it says that, well, this is what she says. I came out to meet you diligently to seek your face. I have found you. I have spread my bed with tapestry, colored coverings of Egyptian linen. I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let us take our fill of love until morning. Let us delight ourselves with love. So I want to stop right there, and I kind of want to just go over the basis for this. So we have a woman who's basically throwing herself at this man, and she's basically tempting him, and he's got a decision to make. And on the outside, this looks, for a young man, I mean, this looks like a dream come true. You have this beautiful woman dressed a certain way coming and kissing you and telling you, oh, let us make love tonight until morning. And I'm sure, I mean, as a young man, I'm married now, but as a young man, I'm not so sure how I would have responded to this before I was married, or even now being married. You never know what situation you're going to find yourself in, and this would not be an easy situation to handle, I don't think, for any man, because your flesh is at war with your spirit. We know that verse that says the flesh is at war with the spirit, and your desires inside of you are like, you're being aroused by this opportunity, right? And this young man, he lacks the understanding to handle this situation. And I like this verse 7 where it talks about, it says, a young man devoid of understanding, right? So this whole point of this video is to increase our understanding, because we see here that when you lack understanding, this is what's going to happen. It's basically showing us that, it's showing us if then, like, this is an if then type of story. Like, this is what happens if you lack this. So let's keep reading the story. It says, verse 19, for my husband is not at home. He has gone on a long journey. He has taken a bag of money with him, and will come home on the appointed day. With her enticing speech, she caused him to yield, and with her flattering lips, she seduced him. Immediately, he went after her as an ox goes to the slaughter, or as a fool to the correction of the stocks, till an arrow struck his liver. As a bird hastens to the snare, he did not know it would cost his life. Now therefore, listen to me, my children. Pay attention to the words of my mouth. Do not let your heart turn aside to her ways. Do not stray into her paths. For she has cast down many wounded, and all who were slain by her were strong men. Her house is the way to hell, descending to the chambers of death. So, what seemed to be all good, right? I mean, just picture this young man has this beautiful woman come and basically throw herself at him, and he sees an opportunity to fulfill the desires that he has inside, and so he goes with it. He yields to her because of her enticing speech. And it says it's like he's like an ox going to the slaughter. He's like a bird that's caught in a trap. Like a bird that hastens to the snare, it says. He did not know it would cost his life. Now therefore, listen to me, my children. Pay attention to the words of my mouth. Do not let your heart turn aside to her ways. Do not stray into her paths. For she has cast down many wounded. For all who were slain by her were strong men. So that is pretty much the lesson of this proverb and this story, is to recognize the situation that you might be in. You know, maybe you have someone at work, maybe you have someone at school, maybe there's someone in church, whatever, it doesn't matter where. You have to have your guard up. You have to have your understanding. You have to have that understanding of what you're doing, what you're choosing. You have to guard your heart, because sometimes us as men, we don't really think about what's going on inside of our heart or our emotions, but sometimes these type of women, these women who kind of throw themselves at us or make us feel a certain way, or they're loud and they're always in a funny, playful mood, and next thing you know, they want us to do things with them that, you know, you need to consider what you're getting yourself involved with, and you need to consider what path you're taking, because it says, do not stray into her path. And this is a key part where it says, all who were slain by her were strong men. Her house is the way to hell. And I think sometimes about Samson, I mean, he was a strong man, yet his fall and his demise was a woman. And I think it's good for us to stop and think and consider, like, these women that we allow to kind of affect us emotionally, they can cause us to lose a very important battle, and that's the battle of our flesh and our spirit. And we give in to the desires of the flesh when we choose to take the path that seems to feel good with these women, and we set ourselves up into a trap. We basically are like ox going to a slaughter. So I basically wanted to make this video just to kind of have us stop and think about women that we know in our lives, who have this spirit, and women who have this craftiness in their heart, and they have their own agenda, like this woman had with this man. She had an agenda, and she had like I don't want to say a goal, but she had she knew what she wanted from this man, and she got what she wanted at the cost of this man's life, right? It says he did not know it would cost him his life. Verse 23. He did not know it would cost his life. And that's something that I just want to stop and have us think about. When we choose these women and we choose to do whatever with these women, what is it costing us? And do we lack understanding? Do we need to pray and ask God, God, give us understanding. Teach me how to guard my heart. Teach me how to choose the right path and not choose the path of these women. Looks like we have some time. Let's jump into Proverbs 8. Does not wisdom cry out, and understanding lift up her voice? That right there, I love this verse, because sometimes me and my mom joke around about this verse, because she's the one who showed it to me. I think it was Christmas Eve 2023, if I'm not mistaken. And sometimes we get into a conversation, me and my mom, and we're trying to make a decision, and sometimes we'll just stop and say, does not wisdom cry out? Because wisdom does. She cries out. And sometimes it's not as complicated as we make it seem. Sometimes we just have to listen to her, because deep down inside, we know what the right thing to do is. It's very seldom that you're going to find yourself in a situation in this life where you actually have no clue what the right thing to do is. Ever since we were born, as kids growing up, we have a moral compass, or we have an idea. I would imagine like 99% of people have this conscience of what's right and what's wrong. And sometimes that's the voice of wisdom crying out, saying, like, for instance, let's just say you wake up one morning and you just really want to go back to sleep, but you know that it takes you about 30 minutes to get ready for work, and you're already at that 30-minute mark, but you have a decision to make. Do I lay in bed a little longer? I might be late for work. And you start to justify the situation within your head and say, oh, I could probably get ready in 20 minutes. Next thing you know, you show up to work late. And if you go back and look at that moment when you woke up, you can kind of see how this verse comes into play, where it says, does not wisdom cry out? Like, you know you should be on time or do your best to be a little bit early. So that's where this verse, I feel like it's fun to stop and kind of repeat this verse to yourself whenever you have to make a critical decision. Does not wisdom cry out? And if we just listen to her and do what we know is right, then we have a reward. It says in verse 2, she takes her stand on top of the high hill, beside the way where the paths meet, right? She takes her stand where the paths meet. And this is connected to Proverbs 7, where it was talking about the different paths. And one of these paths is that woman that with the crafty heart. And then you have the another path, wisdom. There's various paths that we can take in our life, but we need to know what path we're choosing. She cries out by the gates, at the entrance of the city, at the entry of the doors. To you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of men. O you simple ones, understand prudence. And I looked at that word in verse 5, that word prudence, carefulness and good judgment. And you fools, be of an understanding heart. There it talks about understanding again, which kind of ties into chapter 7, where it said the man devoid of understanding. Listen, for I will speak of excellent things, and from the opening of my lips will come right things. For my mouth will speak truth. Wickedness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are with righteousness. Nothing crooked or perverse is in them. They are all plain to him who understands. And there again we see that word understands. So we see this pretty much boils down to understanding. And right to those who find knowledge. Receive my instruction and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than rubies. And that's where I was talking about the reward of wisdom. And we see that wisdom is better than gold. It's better than rubies. It has its value. And all things one may desire cannot be compared with her. I, wisdom, dwelled with prudence, and find out knowledge and discretion. You should use this one, babe. It's already open. And I, wisdom, dwell with prudence, and find out knowledge and discretion. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride and arrogance, and the evil way, and the perverse mouth I hate. So there's another path. The fear of the Lord. That's a path. And it's a good one. It's a hard one, but it's a good one. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride, arrogance, and the evil way, and the perverse mouth I hate. Counsel is mine, and sound wisdom. I am understanding. I have strength. Wisdom equals strength. When you have wisdom, you have strength. By me kings reign, and rulers decree justice. By me princes rule, and nobles, all the judges of the earth. I love those who love me, and those who seek me diligently will find me. I love those who love me, and those who seek me diligently will find me. This is where wisdom starts to come to life, because oftentimes when we think about wisdom, we're not thinking of wisdom in the context of a person. But we see now that wisdom can love us if we love her. And she will give us these things of value. Listen to this. Riches and honor are with me. Enduring riches and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold, yes, than fine gold. And my revenue than choice silver. And it's interesting because this Proverbs was written, thousands of years ago. And I find it interesting that she's comparing her value of what she has, comparing it to gold. And I just think the Bible is using this comparison to gold, and gold still has its value. Gold is extremely valuable even up until today. And I just don't know very many things, material things that we can look at that were valuable as much as gold. Like gold is one of the few things that I can think of that has held its value the way it has, like gold has for thousands of years, it's just increasing in value and holding its value, how much more the value of wisdom and what she has to offer. And my revenue than choice silver. Verse 20, I traverse the way of righteousness in the midst of the paths of justice, that I may cause those who love me to inherit wealth. So she wants those who love her to inherit wealth, that I may fill their treasuries. The Lord possessed me at the beginning of his way, before his works of old. I have been established from everlasting, from the beginning, before there was ever an earth. And we see that wisdom was there at the beginning. At the beginning, wisdom was there. And I find it interesting because we sometimes in this day and age, when you think about Christians or Catholics or whatever, sometimes they have different women that they hold in these high positions in regard. Like, for instance, Mary. Like, Mary is held at such a high, like, she's highly esteemed and she's honored, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but when's the last time you heard someone speak about wisdom? When's the last time you heard someone praise her or acknowledge her or esteem her and say, like, look, this is one, she was there from the beginning. The Lord possessed her at the beginning, before his works of old. Says in verse 23, I have been established from everlasting, from the beginning, before there was ever an earth. When there were no depths, I was brought forth. When there were no fountains abounding with water, before the mountains were settled, before the hills, I was brought forth, while as yet he had not made the earth or the fields, or the primal dust of the world. When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he drew a circle on the face of the deep, when he established the clouds above, when he strengthened the fountains of the deep, when he assigned the sea its limit, so that the waters would not transgress his command, when he marked out the foundations of the earth, then I was beside him as a master craftsman. I mean, that is just beautiful. Beautiful. And for some reason, it like even comes to life today, and it reminds me of, I don't know how many of you have ever been in construction or you've built something and you just look, when you start out, like, wisdom is right there. And God gave us this wisdom to use it, and we do use it when we build stuff. And sometimes you just look at what we're able to do and what we're able to create and what we're able to build, and it's because God gave us the wisdom. God gave us that same wisdom that he used in the beginning is available to us now. Just like it says in verse 30, I was beside him as a master craftsman. And sometimes we get to have that blessing of having wisdom there with us whenever we do something. As a master craftsman. Wow. And I was daily his delight, rejoicing always before him, rejoicing in his inhabited world. And my delight was with the sons of men. See? My delight was with the sons of men. That's us too. Now therefore, listen to me, my children, for blessed are those who keep my ways. Hear my instruction and be wise, and do not disdain it. Blessed is the man who listens to me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the posts of my doors. For whoever finds me finds life and obtains favor from the Lord. But he who sins against me wrongs his own soul, and those who hate me love death. So there we have a promise. He who finds me finds life. And that's That's the hope, that's the prayer, that's the goal, is that we would find wisdom and that we would have understanding, and also that we would recognize those women in our life that are going to lead us down the wrong path. That's it for today. That's all I got. I really hope that these verses can just become a part of your DNA and your mind and your thoughts, and that they can just transform you guys. Thanks again.